Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, but I'm going to say welcome to For the Culture Week. That is today's topic. I am excited to have Black men from Roxbury in the room this morning. As you may have seen, we announced yesterday that Chief Idowu would be with us from the Mayor's Office of Economic Inclusion and Opportunity. He'll get me when he gets on screen. But he and the team over there at the City of Boston are sponsoring For the Culture Week, which will include the HBCU Classic with Morehouse as one of the teams, and he'll tell us what the other team is. And also, one of the highlights closing out the week is supporting and highlighting and honoring Boston's own New Edition, continuing in the tradition of, I believe it was former Mayor Walsh, who dedicated a street or way to New Edition. And our current mayor is continuing that tradition as well, as in honoring these brothers who have influenced the culture, not just here in Boston, not just regionally, not just nationally, but internationally. And so we're not going to waste time. We have Brother Ronnie DeVoe in the background, and also Chief Idowu and Mike Bivens should be joining us shortly as well. I will ask you to do me a favor. Put in the comments your first memory of New Edition. What is your first memory of New Edition? Mine is walking past Hamill's studio when they did a photo shoot, and they had on either shiny yellow or shiny blue, what do you call it, suits back in the day. And so this was years ago. It's a parking lot now down in Nubian Square. So without further ado, let's bring in Chief Idowu so we can talk about the For the Culture Week, and also bring in our other guests as well who are in the background. Ronnie and Mike, just give us a couple of seconds so we can give you a proper introduction. And Chief, how are you, sir?
Great. Nice to see you. Chief of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion. Mm-hmm.
You know, you remain to stay focused and do the work, and we definitely appreciate that. So please say good morning to the folks. And it's interesting because you're going to drop this bomb, and then we're going to bring our guest in and then wrap it up at the end. But describe Boston's economy in one word after your introduction.
Okay, no, go ahead. I'll take the prompt. Describe the economy in one word. Okay.
After you say hello and whatnot, and shout out to our shared mother. It's not Mother Idowu anymore, but shout out to Mother as well, because I'm sure she's watching. But greet the people, one word, and then we'll bring in our other esteemed guest.
Good morning. Great to see everybody. Happy to be back. And I would say, compared to our peer cities, strong. We're in a strong position.
We know that, Segun, two of the major contributors to Boston's economy is the Black community, the entertainment industry, hospitality, and the arts. This administration has focused a lot on the arts. And so with that, also Boston is definitely a sports city. And so there's a lot going on this week. If you could give us a little blurb and end with, and also introduce our other guests, you can do that, and then we'll bring them on screen in just 2 seconds.
Yeah, so well, I would say that so there are 5 pillars of the city's economy. There's our medical institutions, our higher ed institutions, there's tourism, et cetera. And so these are life science and our focus on tech, and particularly clean tech, environmental companies. A lot of these industries, or a lot of these different pillars, are under attack by the Trump administration. But, you know, the city has had a very strong recovery, at least for the outputs that we are tracking. And, you know, I think that the efforts that we're taking, you know, that Mayor Wu is taking in terms of, you know, delivering more housing, particularly affordable housing, our focus on transportation, et cetera, are ways to help kind of shield ourselves against these attacks on our economy. And then part of that tourism pillar is exactly what you just said. You know, arts and culture, sports, media, et cetera, the Black community are really what are helping keep Boston's economy strong.
Early on in informing and coming out early and getting Boston on the map were our guests. There are many that are doing it now, but these brothers have laid a foundation. And again, I remember my first, and it's funny because I thought about this morning, my first ever DJ set with the old tape recorder, a radio, and a big box stereo. I was playing "Is This the End?" I know Segun, you weren't around.
For my this is what the 1800s. What years? I'm kidding. I was around. This is the
So he's choosing violence this morning. So do me a favor, Segun, Chief Idowu, you go ahead and tell us about a big part of this weekend on Saturday and introduce our guest.
Well, so I'll just very quickly say that this is probably the blackest summer that Boston, in my memory, right now. There could be other times that we did this the same, but just to say, in my memory, this is the blackest summer that we've had, and I think, and that's in no small part due to like Black Market Nubian, to Bams Fest, to Family Reunion, to Tory Burton, so many others who have put on really strong events this year, and have been doing for many years. And so what the city is excited about is that as a capstone to this really great, joyful summer is having something called For the Culture Week, which we hope to expand to all the summer in future years, where we're welcoming back the HBCU Classic, which we can talk about later on. But the hallmark of this, and really the singular opportunity that the city has, is to honor a group of young people who have who really put Boston on the map in every single way, not just in the in what they were doing in the industry, but who also, as folk, guys who grew up here, have been making sure that every year they're giving back to the communities that they came from. So we are really excited that we get to deliver on honoring New Edition for 40 plus years of transforming the city of Boston, as well as part of our 250 years as a nation. New Edition certainly has left an indelible legacy on the city and the country.
So I was trying to get you to go ahead and do the introduction.
Oh, okay. So therefore,
give us the same energy that you did when I just saw on social media someone said that you've performed.
No. Let's calm down.
They
were lying. I didn't even have a high school talent show. I'm not the singer. I leave that to my esteemed colleagues. To Ron and Mike, who I think are joining us this morning.
Yes.
I'm excited. This is a surprise to me as well. So I'm going to shut up for this whole thing because this is about them. We are very happy that New Edition gets to be celebrated this week.
Absolutely. So let's bring them in. Both of them, I remember. I can also get them to nod their heads. What's up, Mike? What's up, Ron? Mike.
Hey, what up, baby? How you doing? Good morning.
Good to see you, man. It was good seeing you a couple of weeks ago. And Ron as well. I've seen you in community. I know you guys are extremely busy across the country, in Vegas and across the world, the residency. And so, Ron, I'll go in order of who's on the screen. If you don't mind, say good morning to the audience. And if you could describe Black music in Boston in one word after your introduction and greetings.
Wow.
Yes, I'm getting everybody with one word. Yeah.
One word. Goodness gracious. To encapsulate something as great as it is in one word is gonna be hard to do. But my name is Ronald Boyd DeVoe Jr., aka What About Ronnie, from the streets of Boston, Massachusetts since 1967. And Segun said something about the 1800s. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, Segun. You cleaned it up, though, when you called us young people. I like that, But, man, I'm excited. I am born and raised right there in Boston, Massachusetts. It's a place that you're not supposed to make it out of. But because of a lot of prayer and different individuals that poured into us back in the day, we were able to travel the world and continue our legacy and doing something that we love to do for over 42 years, and to be celebrated with New Edition Way in our city on Saturday morning is going to be a culmination of a lot of effort, a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of all of the above, and I'm very excited about it. But the Boston scene in one word, I would have to say groundbreaking. That might be two words, but I think you can combine them joints to make them one. Groundbreaking.
listen, this is your week, so you can do 2 words. And I want to mention the memory of you. I don't know if you remember Al's store that was on Warren Street across the street from the church. It went down like in the basement, and I used to work there. And you came in one day, and when I tell you, when you left, the way those people went in, they were like, "Oh my God!" And this was way back. So it's good to see you again, brother. Our brother Mike. I've seen you more and interacted with you a little bit more in community, so it may be a little more casual. But good morning to you, sir, and please
Good
go ahead
morning.
and greet the audience. And I would ask you to describe the state of give back of Black Boston in one word, because this is something that you guys do, and I know you've had the classic and things like. Speaking of a classic, so go ahead and greet the folks and describe the state of give back of Black Boston in one word.
Let me say good morning, everybody. I guess if I could say give back, I would say that it's selfless. There's a lot of people that do a lot of things and you don't even know that they're doing it. They're pretty anonymous about it. And that's what I realized that some people do things to be in the Globe, to be in the Herald, to be in the Banner. And then some people just do things from the kindness of their heart. And that's what I noticed. There's a lot of us that kind of sit in the background and enjoy the giving back from an anonymous seat. And I think that's what Boston had. But I wanted to say something else on that first question. I think what makes Boston different on the scene is we're trendsetters.
Mhm.
All of our groups
Yeah.
from Boston, all of our groups from Boston are at the top of what they do. Aerosmith still stands with Run DMC as one of the best collaborative hip hop and rock records ever. Walk This Way, New Edition Way. New Kids on the Block, regardless of NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, of any of the other white pop groups, there's just still something about them and their swagger from Dorchester that's unmatched. All of the white groups are white groups, but they got a little bit of that edge on them, that Adidas edge, that Boston edge, that separates them. They're a grittier version of a white group. In New Edition, we the kings of it. We fortunately were able to split up and become individual solo artists, group solo artists. So the mantra of the New Edition scope of things is BBD, Ralph, Bobby, Johnny, Heads of State, Bell Biv DeVoe. It's like 6 groups in one. And all of that starts with the water and the essence and just being in the city and the mindset and the creativity of the godfather, the group Brooke Payne. It's just a different type of city.
Yeah.
To your point there, and there's so much that we talked early on, excuse me, about the contributions to the economy of Black people and the arts and whatnot. And so, Mike, I'll start with you here. And my questions are based on the energy that I get from my guests. And you talked a lot about us being different here. We are different. That was a mantra that, during, the NBA finals that, we
Right,
last year, not this year,
right.
last season, whatever. But can you talk about, the grind and the rigor that it took to again be honored by the city? And also, if you would like for a couple of seconds, we have the chief of economic development here. Also talk about the importance of supporting Black-owned businesses, because you understand support from
Right,
home and things like that.
right.
So talk a little bit about the rigor that led to this and any perspective on the economy. And Ron, we'll come back to you in just a couple of seconds.
I think because this is a first, a street naming, a block party, the HBCU Classic with Morehouse and Johnson C. Smith. There's a lot of historical moments all culminating within this week, right? And with this administration, some people are there just to do their job, but this week is above their job. This is something that as African Americans, they all took personally. And I think that's what makes it so great, because it's the resilience and the coming together of so many people. And what Segun has to deal with on a daily basis, he puts out the fire and he ignites the fire. He puts the fire under the workers to get the job done. And then if there's a problem, he has to spread the water to get that out of there. And as far as Black businesses in Boston, what Kai and them do down there in Nubian and all of that great stuff going on down there, we just had the honor of having Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick right in the neighborhood, right in front of cornfields, right in front of Highland Chap. And we never really seen it like that ever. You would only see them down at the venues in the city, but to be right there where people could stand there, take a picture and touch them. I just think that the thrivingness of everyone coming together as a community is really what's making this week so special. Even though we're at the top of the list, everybody else is participating and everyone has welcomed this as a city get down as we come to just enjoy New Edition in the football game and everybody else that puts in the work on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Segun started saying, or Chief Idowu started off by saying, and I posted it the other day, and you all can speak to this, though not back to the 1800s. This is one of the blackest summers that we've seen in the city of Boston, and I'm 53. Y'all are somewhere, around my age. And so, Ronnie, if I could ask you to piggyback on what Mike said, to have this honor again, and then the contributions that you all and other black artists have made to the city. How does it feel to have this, not just way continuing, the previous dedication to you, but then also a whole weekend? There's a ball. We're going to talk about the activities from the city side and then your side as well in a minute. But Ronnie, just piggyback on what Mike said, and how does it feel, and also your experience on black economy in the city of Boston.
Yeah, I mean, it's a celebration. It's a triumph. It's about resilience. We're from a place that you're not supposed to make it out of, as I said initially, and because of the work that we put in early on in the game and throughout our careers, because we care and we love what we do, and we want to make sure that we're giving people every bit of their money's worth at the end of the day. That's something that should really translate to any and everybody. And for New Edition, coming from Boston, we are a reflection of a lot of the kids and the individuals that are there that feel like sometimes there is no hope. And for us to be able to come back to the city and touch it, as Mike said a little earlier, anonymously, or in front of the camera, whether or not it's a no books, no balls, or it's a scoops and hoops, or it's Mike out in the park making sure that he's keeping kids off the streets, or I'm touching the Boys and Girls Club of America, or we're speaking in front of kids for the MECO programs, because we're both honored and alum of that institution and organization as well. It's just so important that we pay attention and that we're intentional about making sure that we're shining a light with our presence, with our relationships, with our resources. And one of the good things about New Edition, because people have this love for what we do, and they have all of these different memories of dancing to Poison at their bar mitzvah, or Can You Stand the Rain is their favorite song at the wedding, or what have you. We have access to a lot of rooms, whether that's on the political side or on the business side or on the community relations side. So when we're in those doors, we're pulling on people's coattails at the age that we are now, to make sure that not only are we entertaining people, but we're making a difference. And that's, I think, what this week is all about for the culture. It's about entertainment. It's about sports. It's about, loving the city and embracing the culture. But at the same time, what are we putting on the table to make sure that we're affecting some change, and that everybody in the city feels like there's a chance for them to get ahead if they're willing to put in the work.
Ronnie, I'll start this last piece with you, and then we'll go over some of the activities and any shout outs that you want to give. But you all were here during, if you remember, the Charles Stewart case. You may have been in and out and whatnot, but you all have context to statements of the relevance, like this is the blackest summer ever. Ronnie, I'll start with you, and then Mike, you can contribute to this piece as well. The evolution and the change. We're groundbreaking, and there's some different ground that's been breaking recently in some, you all know Boston's, old reputation. And so by your observation, how has Boston evolved in its groundbreakingness? There go Mike. So we'll start with Ronnie, and Mike, you hold on to the thought and get ready, brother.
I love it. I was able, the last time I was in town, to stay at the Omni in the Seaport. Right now,
Yep.
This is considered basically South Boston. So back in the day, Ricky and Ralph had to get bussed with police escorts, 4 and 5 motorcycles up front, 5 and 6 cop cars in the back. This is in the early 80s to this area because people did not want, people like us that look like us to be in this area. But to know that now, I was able to stay at a place called the Omni, and that Omni was actually partially built and constructed by a black man named Greg Janey, who was a friend of mine, right? And I was able to visit a a restaurant called Grace by Nia, who is another friend of mine, right? Like, so you see the change in the city and the fact that people that at one point may have wanted to close the door on us and keep us out are embracing us now. So I think there are some bridges that are being built, and we still have work to do, but I definitely see the work being done, and it starts with things that the gentleman Segun are doing, as far as city and making sure that they're boots to the ground and speaking for the people so that some of those kinds of things happen. But I see it, initially I experienced Boston from really the broke mentality, quote unquote. And it's a hard city to navigate from the broke mentality. But when you're willing to put in the work and really excel and put yourself in position and you're able to experience it from the other side, man, it's such an amazing place. But we got to continue to bridge the gap so more people on the broke, quote unquote, side will feel like they have the opportunity and the hope to be able to cross the bridge.
Ronnie, you almost and Shagun, we come from a church background. Ronnie, you almost caught a preach there for a second. I thought I was going to hear organ in the background.
That's all right.
It's definitely real. And so, Mike, may I ask you to build upon what Ronnie was saying about the evolution? You said trend setting. There's some trends that Boston had some years ago, and there's some new trends being set, currently. And so, what are your thoughts there?
Well, if you go back to the Charles Stewart thing, I think tearing Mission Hill apart was definitely wrong. And I think they took a man's word for it, and the people of color had to pay for it. And we all know that was wrong. And his brother came to light and shedded the light on that. And that was him. And I just think that was wrong, just watching them go through that. And Bennett's mom and this, that, and the third. That's Boston. My mama has seen that since Martin Luther King got shot and they was rioting, and James Brown wanting to perform at Boston Garden. It's an Irish city. But the Roxbury, Dorchester, South End, Mattapan, that the neighborhoods and the hoods and our mentality is what ours is ours. Now, everyone doesn't get the opportunity to benefit on the food chain in terms of ownership and getting into the economy side of Boston. But there's people that make up a t-shirt and sit at a table and they just do the best they can because they have a creative idea and they're just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. And that's probably the most important line every Bostonian has ever had, all the way down to the 3-car Molly guy. Everyone's just trying to hustle and trying to make it happen. Some of our greatest heroes was hustlers. What Mel King did, what he stood for, that makes it possible for Segun and some of the black people that work in administration. We had our city officials that people had to look up to. There's a lot of community directors who are actually heroes. Those are heroes, that go, nameless and don't get the conversation. And that's why I say there's level to the levels of Boston. There is some black folks that don't deal with black folks. They deal with white folks. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some black folks who just want to keep it black and don't want to change and grow because that's the way they've been breeded. Yo, I'm going to just keep it hood. This is who I am. Ain't no change in me. I've been this way. And that's okay too. That's the militant side. You know what I mean? That's a little different than Martin. You know what I mean? That's the other side. And I just say that for me, being a kid from the city, I get the chance to enjoy all of the conversations and I get a chance to have a voice in all of the conversations. And what I try to do is let everybody be themselves and to say on Saturday, you all get to come back to Orchard Park, which is a beautiful place to celebrate some kids, like Ronnie said, who all could have went different ways. We was all around everything. The headquarters was arresting and taking in all the way from the Armstead brothers. All of that, we seen it all. But to be here and to all be living damn near 60 years old, and our first record was Candy Girl, that's still one of the cleanest record, even for an 8-year-old today to play, is a whole nother historical moment. And what we stand for as human beings. First of all, I'm a husband and I'm a father raising 4 girls. I just dropped my daughter off at LSU last week. So I'm looking at my history and my legacy. And my daughter said to me, Dad, I only been here for a week, but I need to get on that plane. I'm coming to OP to support you. So we put a flight together for my daughter, and that made me feel good. That made my wife feel good. It made her sisters feel good because she's only been gone for 10 days. But for her to want to say, Dad, I wouldn't miss that for nothing in the world, that's what all of this is all about. That's
Yeah.
what Boston is all about to me.
Yes, sir.
It's running through my DNA and it's running through hers and all of these other kids out there. When we sit up on that microphone and we look into their eyes, we get to tell them, if we could do it, so can't you. And we'll try to do our best to help you.
Again, so I continued the conversation based on the energy of my guest, and you all are really delving into some places that I'm just going to come out and say it, that some people that know you and know the grind and know the hustle and had the opportunity to observe you through the years know about the give back, know about the business acumen. But I think for some people that may not know, you talked about it, there are levels to people that are in the industry and whatnot. And sometimes there's this perception of, anyway, I know you guys' time is limited, the Chiefs' time is limited. And so I just want to say that, and Segun, I'll ask, thank you for your patience and ask you to jump in here on some of this affirmation piece. Mike and Ron, I often hold spaces for Black men, mental health. You said y'all are approaching, well, all 3 of us except Segun. Let me just be shady for 1 second. We are getting ready to approach. No, sir. We are getting ready to approach things where we're supposed to be thinking about, colon cancer prevention, taking care of our heart health, diabetes, and things like that. And so to hear
Prostate cancer, bro. Prostate cancer. Yes.
fatherhood and things like that. So Segun, if you could just speak to the brothers of what you heard away from, I think it even affirms even more so why this honor is so due, because beyond the records, beyond the videos, beyond the, with all due respect to all of it, this is the meat behind, I think, what makes them so successful. So Segun, any observations, any feedback you want to give to these 2 kings this morning?
Well, first, the only reason I brought up the age thing is
don't try to Monday morning
I'm still getting over. Because I'm still getting over someone saying to me that I was born in the late 1900s, and I was like, oh my god. Anyway, but I'm not even gonna. I know you said patience. I'm happy to sit here and listen because I recognize that like this is wisdom that was shared this morning. This was experience. This was knowledge, and I'm happy to have a front row seat to hearing it and sharing it. So, I mean, the observation for me is, actually, as Mike was saying, that like, his comment in the beginning of, there are some people who do what they do to be seen and for so-called fame and so-called glory. And I think the other reason why we I'll say administration, of course, Mayor Wu is very happy to be leading this and for this to be happening at this period. But I would say that all the folks here in the city of Boston, particularly African, Black folk, but I think all of us who work for the city are happy to just celebrate other Bostonians and people who are devoted to the city and who, I mean, you're talking about a group of Bostonians who traveled the whole world, wherever, and everyone knows their name and what they've done, and they never forgot where they came from. And so that for me is also the Boston spirit, where Bostonians don't forget where they came from. You can't take the Boston out of Bostonians, and that's clearly true of the 2 brothers that we have on today, but all 6 that we'll be celebrating this Saturday.
Absolutely. And so I think last segment I started with Ron. Mike, I'll ask you to get ready to close us out on, you
Okay.
already said it, but do you want to give folks another invitation to come? And also, I will ask you if you don't mind to also throw in anything in there, Mike. You brought up prostate cancer. Any word you want to give to Black men around your health and mental health, because you understand your influence. And I'm the type that when I got folks like you on the show, I'm going to extract everything out of them to influence brothers and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. So invite folks to come. Well, do the fatherhood health thing and then end up with inviting out, and Ron
Yeah.
will you as well.
Yeah, and I was going to say this too. Like what we do with some of the Black fathers in the cities, we get together, and the reason why that's important because the Black household has always been a one-parent household, and sometimes just because of the man has the physical brute force, he has to maintain the mentality of the household, especially if he's living there with women or a younger son who he has someone as a father figure to look up to. So we try to help them understand the importance of family and sticking together and to be wise to your decisions. And in terms of this weekend, between the New Edition event in Orchard Park, right there on Ambrose and Dearborn Street, that's really about the combination of the whole city. Even though it's in Orchard Park, we do know some folk don't go into Orchard Park, and that's just what it is. We would hope for that day everyone could just stay united and make it a Boston thing, not just a thing. Because Ronnie's from South End. Ronnie lived up Wambach Street. So there's some folks that as soon as you get past Dudley Square, they don't go down in the OP. But we're trying to send the message that this is a thing for everyone in the Commonwealth. It's just the location is in OP. And then the block parties for the kids that enjoy themselves get black packs. And then everyone shoots over town to the game as we welcome in Johnson C. Smith and Morehouse. And then we go back to the sneaker ball, back in the hood, back in Roxbury. And we do a night of celebration with food and fellowship with family members and different people from the city. So we have a good time. That's all I would say. Always remember, man, the man is the household. Be there for the women. Raise a Black family, and let's see the future leaders and inventors of tomorrow that comes through your DNA in your household. Make your kids something and give them something to look up to, and stay there. Fight to the end.
Mike, if I can, 10 seconds on the fact, because you said something about men in the household, and there's a lot of our brothers that unfortunately for various reasons are not in the household. Speak to that population about because it's a lot for them. And again, I'm sorry, but I'm
Well,
going
you
to.
know, some of the real problem is some of them is behind the wall. Some of them may be in the ground, you know, and then if they had a problem with their father, you got to kind of break that. There's so many mental aspects. That gets you back to the mental health. Some of our fathers didn't have a father, so they don't know how to be a father, you know, and then that relationship breaks. So that's why when you get to your son, you try to make up for what didn't happen for you. That's a big thing in the Black family, you know, holding something from yesterday into today. You have to change that narrative and you have to fix it. So that's what I would speak to.
Mike at some point. And if Terry is watching, Terry, my apologies. I was supposed to follow up from Terry when I saw you at the Roxbury Unity Parade, but I want to get you back to talk about health and things like that, because
Right.
the influence is remarkable there. Ronnie,
Yep.
sorry to set you up in this space, brother, but I know you can speak to it as well. Your perspective on fatherhood, health. Well, talk about that, and then also invite folks for Saturday. But y'all done. Sorry, took me in a whole
Oh my
different.
goodness. Yeah. Michael Bevis, boy, you dropped the mic about 12 times in that statement. Goodness gracious, man. That's what I'm talking about. Segun, when you say wisdom is definitely on display as far as this conversation is concerned. I would just add one of the things that I did in my marriage was submit to my wife, and the fact that she was asking us to seek counseling. We went to premarital counseling, probably about 5 sessions. It was amazing moving into our relationship, and then after that, it's like, okay, I got this. I'm driving the car. I don't need any help. And we got to a point where our relationship was broken because really, as individuals, we don't have the blueprint for success as far as relationships are concerned. And Mike spoke to that as far as, Black households being raised without the dad in it for the most part. So when I opened myself up to the coaching and the counseling to make sure I was right as an individual, as well as my wife and I were right as a couple, man, it just breathed so much life into our relationship, right? And it was at a point where we were really looking to have children. We hadn't had children up until that point, but I believe God wanted to see if we were going to be able to make it to the through the other side of this fire, that He probably planted to a certain extent, and how we were going to make the correct decisions to get to our ultimate blessings on the other side. And when Mike says he dropped Savannah off at LSU, and now, because we were able to fight through adversity with coaching and counseling, right, and that type of support, to get to our ultimate blessings, which is our children on the other side of that adversity, and to be able to bring them up to Boston, and have my wife by my side, and my mom, and my brothers, and best friends from even before New Edition, and family members that have been supporting us, because this is not easy. It's a sacrifice, right? It's a delicate balance that you really can't even balance. So there are times where people really looked at us in a way where, we turned our back on them, but we're just chasing these dreams from a place in the hood that, dreams, are hard to reach, ultimately. So I would say, the counseling for me was amazing, and it speaks to mental health and a lot of the things that people are dealing with. Mike said it best as well. Like, we are a, reflection of our parents and our parents' parents. So if we can kind of work through, some of that mud, just to figure out who we are and why we are, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm excited, man. It's our gifts and our talents that are connected ultimately to our purpose, and that is the New Edition way. And I love, the name of the street that we're getting because of that. And man, come on, Jimmy. Come on, man. It's going down, yo. This is an amazing conversation. If we didn't have, to jump on a couple other situations, well, we can extend this all day long. But thank you for
Exactly.
your time. Yeah.
You all are welcome back anytime, because it I understand the power of influence. And I think for Black Joey Bennett from, Mike, you referenced to the brother that brought this to light with the Murder in Boston HBO thing. He comes in and holds a mental health space. Please cry. Who you see?
Yeah.
So we need this, Segun. And you're a Black man as well, so I know you get it. But we came in to talk about the weekend, but I'll end it with this: that this is going to create a lot of Black joy. But sometimes after the events and the activities, I'll just stick to us as men. We got to go home and deal with, you know what I'm saying? And so I just want to celebrate the two of you. Yes, with all due respect of everything that you achieved in the industry and the honors, but to hear some character and integrity out of you all that I still believes informs your acumen around being. I'm talking too much. Thank both of you for being here. I'll follow up with Terry and Teresa and whomever to try to get you guys to come back in what I call after dark. That's
Okay.
That's where we can have few 4-letter words and stuff. We won't do that with
Right. It's not a PG conversation, right?
It's not a PG conversation. It's a Java company or some message.
Right.
But
no,
I appreciate both of you, and to remember days of, and Mike, you told your age a little bit because you said Highland Tap. Cornfield is still there. Y'all remember Brown's Market?
That's gonna be where the party's at.
Right across from Hibernian. And then there was the there was the little drugstore before they what's over there now? I forgot what's there. It's a parking lot or something, or houses there. There was that little drugstore on the corner across from Greenville. So this is amazing to be able to remember y'all from the photo shoot in Hamill, to see this progress, to now coming back and bringing it home. Almost 50. Watch it, Segun. Almost.
And I'm gonna say this, Java. One of the most important things that was down Dudley that played a role in New Edition's career is Jesse's Corner Store. All right. Jesse's was open 24 hours. When the blizzard of 78 was happening, you could still get you something to eat at Jesse's. You just had to walk through 10 foot of snow. But right next door to Jesse. Stay with me. This is for you, bro. This is for Segun. Right next door to Jesse's was the most important place down Dudley that helps us see history. It was called Double Exposure. It was the first photo shoot New Edition ever had.
Yep.
Don't ever leave them out of it. They are the reason we have the pictures that you see of us and all of our 83 uniforms. The blue uniforms, the gold uniforms. It was all right next door to Dudley.
I remember
Right?
that. Please forgive me. That was Double Exposure. Hamill was the art studio. See, this is taking us back. Hamill was the art studio that was next door. Double Exposure,
Yep.
as clean as day. Y'all was in y'all, gold.
The gold, there we go. The
Gold and
gold
black.
uniform. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And in my head, I was like, yo, who's these dudes? And then,
yeah.
from Roscoe's to not Party Cafe. Was that down there? Party Cafe to Joe's Jaguar to the patio to all right.
The patio. Yep. Yep. There you go. You doing your thing. Segun's just listening in. We gonna send him a tutorial on the old OP and old Dudley. We gonna send him something. We gonna
This
even
is
send
way
him a
before
token so he can get on the orange line again. We gonna do it for you,
way
Segun.
before his
We
time.
got you.
Mike. My sons would say that was in the 19s. Dad, you were born in the 19s.
That's a good one right there. We're all 19s, man. Thank you for having us. I know we boogieing, and we're gonna double back like Ron said, and we'll rock with you after dark. Maybe we'll do a post game from this weekend, which will make it kind of nice. Then we'll have a part two. I mean, a part one and a part two. So
I
just put us in there, Jim. We'll do that. All right.
I would love it, and I appreciate both of y'all. Shagun, if you could give me another 2 seconds just to recap the all of the events, and I almost said Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. Sorry, Ronnie and Mike. Thank both of you for being with us this morning, and
Okay.
see this weekend, and congratulations to all of you.
All right,
Okay,
appreciate it.
bro. All
Thank
right,
you.
go get him, Segun. We holla at y'all. All right, one.
Well, Shagun, sir,
Mhm.
was that like not amazing? And again, there's the 2 or 3 year age difference between the two of us. What is so as a black man from this city that have seen their progress, have seen the things that they've talked about of late? You've been, well, not just of late, because Beckman and body cam and stuff. What you just experienced here, even in beyond the music and the industry, what as a black man, how did you feel watching this go on in real time?
Well, I mean, you're talking about this particular moment. I have the privilege because I've been working with them, and I've been working with Mike for a number of years now on behind the scenes stuff, as he talked about, work that he's contributing to the city and the residents, particularly in Roxbury, but all over, and talking about how he can make an even bigger impact for Boston's residents, in particular Black residents, but everyone overall. So it's been my privilege to be able to work with them before and to be part of the huge group of the workforce that are that we're ideating and that we're helping put together the events happening this weekend. And then to continue our work after that, right? I mean, for New Edition, all of its members, they're not just coming in for this event. They all are still plugged into the city and doing things to help advance, our shared vision for the city. So, so for me, that's been my privilege. I've been fortunate, on that end.
It is just amazing with all that's going on, and you can come back and talk more about Boston's economy and things you're doing and the remarkable things and record-setting things that have been done these last few years. But I'm listening to them, and as the conversation shifted, I said, "Oh boy, I need to make sure we stay focused on for the culture." But this is for the culture, so. Good transition into, things have already started. Let's, just go a little bit. We do have the website, and I'm not going to ask you to cover absolutely everything. But, we have the football game on Saturday. you're big, and I've been telling people if they're getting phone calls from family members to come into the city that tell them to go to the Black-owned businesses. There are Black-owned businesses that are listed. Fenna's having her. So highlight anything you would like to highlight. And of course, I would ask you to also, if you would like to pay homage to the sponsors as well.
Of course. Well, so I'll first start off by saying that, there have been times in the city's history that Black folk have come out and celebrated, had joy, whether it was through our businesses or through events. And for us, this experience for the city in terms of, our departments, because like this is not something that we do in terms of helping to plan like a full week of activity in the way that we are at the scale that it's at. But this is helping us think a lot about how we lay a proper foundation for all the unique events that are happening across the city, particularly through the summer. I mentioned a few of them already with BAMS and Family Reunion, Black Market having the block party that Mike brought up, Toy and the Roxbury Unity Parade. You have Juneteenth, all these things that are happening, like powerful activities. And so we are already thinking about as a city, as an entity, how we help lay a really solid foundation to ensure that we don't fall back from that. Because I know there are many who remember a whole lot of the things that were happening in the city before that went away, and we want to build on that, right? I see this as us helping, strengthen that foundation so we don't fall back from that. So so that's one piece of it. I will say, for the Culture Week, as I mentioned earlier, we hope to expand to cover the entire summer, not just this particular week. But we termed it that to honor both of the major things that are happening this weekend. We just spent half an hour or more talking about how we're going to honor New Edition. And at the same time, we're welcoming back the HBCU Classic to the city after a 50-year hiatus. The Urban League and others helped to bring it here back in the 70s. I don't remember which teams were playing because neither were Morehouse, but but it was played back then. And then this year, we've got Morehouse and Morehouse out of Atlanta, Johnson C. Smith University out of North Carolina, who are coming together to head off against one another. But we've helped to kind of build a whole bunch of things around those two major things. It's for the Culture Week, so there's been something happening at least every day to help honor New Edition or celebrate HBCU culture. And so all of this would not be possible without you mentioned sponsors. I'll just shout out some folks for the Classic, Essence and Meet Boston and Cash App and Delta, have really come together to help make that event possible. I hope I didn't leave anyone out, but I'm sure I did, and I apologize. Charge it to my head and not my heart, as the pastor would say. And then for a New Edition, of course, the city is stepping up to help with the public and free events. But for the Sneaker Ball, have to give major kudos to Delta again, to Encore, Meet Boston. I know the Eastern Bank Foundation has stepped up to support. But then I also just want to thank for the week, the media sponsors. 96.9 has been a huge support mechanism here, NBC 10, but also Black media. So yourself, Jimmy, I know Spark and Woke Women and The Banner and Dot and Mattapan Reporters and Marv,
Urban Heat. Yep.
Right, Urban Heat. And so this has been a very united effort and one that, again, because of this experience for the city and kind of seeing it now from the other side of things, as other organizers have been doing this for many years, we now have a better view of the role that we need to play to help support all the major events that are happening throughout the summer and throughout the year.
It is exciting. We started off with this, that, it's the blackest summer that we've seen in Boston, and Boston is not, let's just say this, maybe I overthink the trolls, but this isn't, Black joy is not limited to just Black people. Everybody people are, and will continue, to celebrate quote unquote off of our Black Joy. So this is open, to everybody, to the city, to come and really experience Black culture. One of the things is the HBU experience. One of the things is our music. One of the things, and it's beyond Black, because based on what Mike said, he talked about those other groups. Let's bring it back to Boston. There's a different swag from a white boy male group from Boston versus, so it's Boston, it's Black Boston, but it's Black Boston and Boston. So, and this is James saying this. Everybody, please plan to go out and be a part of it. Support the classic. Segun, I don't know if you know or if you instituted this, but there's a link that's popped up on social media. We're getting all the free tickets and whatnot that's going around. So you don't really have an excuse to not go to the classic. There are a myriad of events that are going on. Grace by Nia, the Mix, and other places. So please check it out.
Can I just say just a quick, because
please,
I think that's another, and I made this comment after a really successful and powerful weekend with the Black Market Nubian Block Party family reunion. Thousands and thousands of folks coming out to support all the events that were happening that weekend. And I had to take a second, as we are this weekend, of how much the culture has taken over the entire city, right? And so what I appreciate is that, yes, we're going to be in the heart of the city, the literal center of the city in Roxbury, celebrating New Edition and Black culture and Black joy. But what I think is different in this period of time compared to previously, at least again, in my experience in growing up in the city, something could have been true before my arrival, but is just the fact that you can go anywhere in the city, right? There was a period of time, you mentioned Charles Stewart, certainly busing period before that.
Ronnie mentioned it about they had to be shipped to, a bus,
And there were certain places you could not go. And now when you look at the website and see the different, just the Black restaurants that are holding different, parties and gatherings, they're all over the city, and some in places that we could not go. Even the Mix, like the part of Dorchester they're in, there was a time where that was not the part of Dorchester that we would go to. And so, I'm grateful to be in this time. I'm grateful to be in this particular position. I'm grateful to have the colleagues that I have in city government. This is the most diverse cabinet in the city's history, particularly when it comes to Black people and the types of positions and roles that we have that have authority and power and budgets and staff, and the ability to do things like For the Culture Week and to support so many of the great events that are happening across the city for the whole year. And we get to focus on the day after, right? So as much as this is about joy, bringing people together, we also get to focus together on getting folks good paying jobs, supporting, helping to create stronger businesses, helping to create healthy, thriving neighborhoods. And so again, this is the best job I've ever had. And it's a unique privilege, I think, for all 19,000 city employees here who are helping to serve the 681,937 residents of the city.
You would close out like that. That's sort of that Morehouse thing. So I'm not even going to shout out to all the brothers from Morehouse. But Chief Idowu, I am so, I when I was thinking about this, I started to dig up the picture. That I don't know if you remember, I took of you in Reynolds Graves at Grove Hall Community Center.
Yeah. I don't remember the meeting, but I remember being there.
And this has to be, I don't want to lie, 10 to 15 years ago. Yeah. And I remember posting, look out for these two young men. Mm-hmm. And look at both of you. So yeah. I appreciate you, brother. I know we may have went over time a little bit. And shout out to the team. I got to shout out our good brother, Daniel Davis, that helped, put this together behind the scenes. And so you're welcome to come back and we can talk about the economy. And thank you I've been saying that you and the mayor co-executive producers of this week and Saturday. So
well, I gotta give a special shout out, at least on the city side, because John Borders, Dion Irish, Frank Farrow, Jessica Pierre,
Yep.
Brianna Malore, Nakia. Like there's a ton of city
And
folks.
Nakia as well. Thank you,
Right.
Nakia, for liaising to get our brothers in.
Like make this a really successful week. And what I would say to all the folks, I appreciate you continuing to urge people to attend. We really do invite you to visit the city's website, to check out all the different things that are happening. I, for one, am very happy that there are too many things for people to go to. Like, I think, I want to be a real city where there is so much activity going on. You can't possibly go to everything, because for me, that is a symbol and signal of a thriving, healthy.
And it's frustrating. Sorry, I had to interject.
No, I'm with you.
Because you want to make everything, and it's like,
but in my opinion, I feel like, because this is just my opinion. So taking off my city hat, but just like, I think that because we are, and this is not just Boston specific, but if you're used to not having a lot of stuff, like, then we got used to, like, you do this one thing, then this other thing, then, but I think there's a ton more folks who are here. And also I think this just reflects the differences, the beautiful differences within the Black diaspora, that not everyone is going to go to all the different things, right? Because they're appealing to certain folks within the diaspora. I think that's a beautiful thing. And so I'm happy it's happening. But I also just want to say, as folks are going to these things, as you're looking at this week, we want the feedback. This ain't perfect. But as I said, I want to expand this to the summer, and to think about, and we need all the feedback of, how do we make this better? How should the city be supporting BAMs and for the culture, et cetera? But also, how do we do this for other cultures? As you mentioned earlier, James, that, like, this is not and should not just be a Black thing. That's what we're focused on right now. But we want to celebrate all the rich diversity of the city. And I would love to see how this expands to, all the other communities that make Boston what it is today.
It just, again, I have a few more years to see the evolution of what's going on. And so it has been amazing to see this evolution. We look forward to seeing the evolution of this, with this administration next year, going into the summer and into the fall, and just building so much around it. So Segun, thank you for all that you do. I often talk about some things, are opinion, and then some things are fact and on an Excel sheet and can't be refuted. And so let me get you off my screen before, thank you for being here with us. And folks, stick around. We're going to close out some things. And Segun, thank you. And to Daniel, Nakia, and all the other folks you mentioned as well. Shout out to the homegirl, Jessica Pierre. All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
For you all that watch often, y'all know that Mike and Ronnie, I keep wanting to say Bobby. What is it? Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. If I love the girl who can. Every time I get ready to say Ronnie and Mike, I get ready to say the whole thing. Oh boy. Y'all, the way they went in. Yeah, we're going to get them back for After Dark. Shout out to our nightlife person. It's over. I'm sure she had a hand in this as well. Kareen Reynolds, and the Dutch Rebel is over on Instagram as well. Shout out to DQ that was on. Phil was on as well from the mayor's office. Will Dickerson, Ariel, and others. Shauna, I believe, was on, and others. We're not going to be able to do all of the shout outs today. I'm already doing one and going to get in trouble. So Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. Yo, if you're from Roxbury, that I said Hamill Studio, that was the art studio, but Double Exposure, like, that's going back. They literally were in that old school, one was laid out. I don't want, did Ralph? I don't want to say a Jerry curl, but somebody had a little something going on. I remember in that picture. It was very nostalgic today. It was very amazing. Jeanette Velasquez, a Beckma ambassador here. Good, I think I know who that is. Good morning to you. It was nostalgic. It was powerful. It was informing. And also just encouraging to see these brothers who are just doing it. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. I said it right. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky. Hi, Deanna. Listen, I'm going to get ready to get off of here and just say, and I'm going to get in trouble if I ever see Deanna in person. But between Chris Brown and New Edition, the aunties have really been outside this week. Some of y'all remember Chris Brown from in your, late 20s, 30s. And then, now you're in your 40s and you have like a 13-year-old. And I seen y'all taking y'all babies to the concert. And then New Edition on Saturday. I'm going to get in trouble. I just got some offline communications about crushes and back in the day. And no, they're not. They're coming on and I'll be there. So anyway, I'm going to get ready to get off of here. I do need to, oh my God, 445. Ooh, that's crazy. I did want to mention that Pastor Sharon mentioned this today, and I'm going to do my best out to make it, or do my best to try to make it out. But without going into detail, some of you may know a community gem, a minister, a pastor, a father, a big brother. Of late, he's been running the Cast Center right up the street from here. But our pastor, Christopher Sumner, was informed by the medical industry of something that folks are gathering tonight. And I talked to, I'm going to call him Bishop Thompson Jr. I talked to him and he used the words a solemn assembly. And if you're not familiar with that in the tenets of Christendom, when there were situations or people wanted to hear from God or petition things to God, they would go into what's a solemn assembly. Some old school folks would hear terms like sackcloth and ashes, fasting, praying. Tonight, from that Christian belief, many from across the city are gathering to pray for a miracle for Brother Sumner. And so that is taking place tonight, I believe, at 7 p.m. Let me just get the information here. And it's going to be at Jubilee Christian Church. And what I'm going to do is just show the video for 1 second. If you all give me a second to get this queued up. And if you're available, and even if you can't make it, prayer is not limited to the four walls. So you can pray this evening. The time that I have is for 6:30 p.m. this evening at Jubilee Christian Church. There is a panel of speakers or those that will be praying and talking about health and different things like that. And so they're going to have presumably resource tables in there in reference to, and Brother Chris and his wife, I'm sure, will share where they are comfortable in reference to, what's going on with him, and for us to be specific about what to pray for. So as you all can see, I'm struggling a little bit through this. And so just keep Brother Chris Sumner in prayer this evening and all along. Ma and Sharon, add him. Sharon, you probably already did, but add him to the prayer list. And that is it for me. Okay. You all are in here going, oh, Jesus, 427-445-436. And yeah, all the 442, 427-436. Those with Mattapan, I think, because we knew anyway, y'all just really went in here. And Sister Michelle, as well, as I know you, Brother Chris, as I know, Brother Chris as well. So we're going to get ready to go. Tomorrow is Thursday, and I believe I am going to be thankful and take a break. I'm going to take an extra day off tomorrow. We are wrapping up slowly but surely. Got a couple of weeks left. Our summer break. And so we will take a break tomorrow. Will not be with you unless I get another opportunity like I did yesterday. My mother, 298-296. Y'all are really in here reminiscing over the phone, old phone numbers. Oh God, where was 267? Was that like Fenway or something, or was that not even one back then? Sister Deanna, thank you, along with Shell and others that are going to be praying for Chris Nisi as well. I don't know if Milagro is it. Nia Grace is in here. Johnny too. Well, Johnny wasn't in the other one, Nia. You got to shout out Nia from Ronnie. I almost broke some news, but I didn't want you to kill me. All right, I'm getting off of here. Union Capital, you all get an hour and a half for today for your points, for your gift cards. And again, I'm taking a break tomorrow, so we won't be with you tomorrow. We will be back on Labor Day, on Monday, with Mondays with Moles. Bishop Designate Kenneth Moles Jr., if you remember, will come back. He gave a little bit of an update last night about the young man that assaulted him, has 5 more days to serve. He was in Baltimore, and I believe he went to court supporting this young man. So he started the whole war cry, sons, fathers and sons piece. And so he's going to talk about that on Monday at 10 a.m. on Labor Day. So please plan to join in. We'll keep you for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you can go do your grilling and all that other stuff. So that is it for me. Milagro, I do. Oh my Jesus, Mildred, 288-282-28. Yo, this is crazy. Only us old, folks over about 40. I remember the day that they added zip codes, area codes. They added the 718, the 339. For those of you that don't remember, you were able back in the day to call a phone with dialing just 7 numbers. And then fax machines, internet lines, they had to add area codes. 508-339-617 was there. 781 or 718. 781 is Boston, 718 is New York. 978, oh God. 541 was one of the Sister Soraya. 541 was a newer that I believe got added to the Roxbury extensions. I remember 541 because that was old. Okay. I'm getting off of here. We're in a whole phone number place. My stomach hurts. I need to go eat. So we'll see you guys on Monday at 10 a.m. Again, somebody texted me today and said, it is crazy. It was Dina. Who would have ever thought from starting this at COVID to help our community to today having the honor to interview Roxbury owns international stars that really set the trend for boy bands. Let's keep it 100. In this time and generation, set the trend for boy bands. Roxbury's own New Edition. Crazy. I don't think it's really settled in yet. So thank you all for being here. We'll see you Monday at 10 a.m. with Bishop Kenneth Moles Jr. for Moles